Hello yogis, my name is April and welcome to the Yoga Ranger Studio and welcome to our practice today. Today we're going to be focusing on winter yin yoga. Yin yoga focused on that time of year where we are naturally turning our energy inward, pulling everything inward, just like that seed sort of nurtures itself and nourishes itself in preparation for blooming in the spring. So you might find yourself during the winter feeling a little bit more sleepy, a little bit more quiet, looking for things that are more serene and quiet and wanting to move at a slower pace at a time of year when we often find ourselves, oddly, at the opposite, moving really fast. So in this class, we're going to be working with our energy centers that help kind of bring balance to that, the kidney and bladder meridians. Those are the meridians related to winter and the element of water. So tapping into our natural flow that asks that we take some time, step back, become quiet, find a little peace and serenity in our lives, and settle down for a little bit of quiet time. For this practice, you don't need any props other than one blanket, and that is purely optional for your practice. I like to sit on the edge of a blanket to give my pelvis a little bit of tilt for some of my forward folds, but this is an option if you have knee issues or your knees are a little bit unhappy with you today. A couple of blankets might be helpful. You can always put a blanket underneath you for comfort. The ground is hard, the body is soft, and we're working on really taking care of ourselves and becoming more peaceful, quiet, and supportive. So we're going to start our practice seated upright, palms facing down, taking a couple of breaths here. 3-part breath, belly, chest, collarbones, and exhaling through the mouth. 2 more of those, inhaling belly, chest, collarbones, and exhaling through the mouth. And last one on your own. Feeling everything about your moment here, your presence, becoming a little quieter, slowing down just a little bit. So either softening your gaze or closing your eyes, I want you to really just connect to that rhythm of the breath, your natural rhythm, not making any changes to it. Within each of us in the breath is this natural flow. Sometimes you'll notice that when you find yourself really stressed out, that the breath speeds up. We can help slow that flow down by just being conscious of the breath and aware. Maybe there are days when you have no energy and you need a little bit more fire, and you can expand the breath and speed it up just a little bit more. And that will bring you that balanced energy. The breath travels with us wherever we go, every moment of our days and nights. And it's available to us to help moderate our energy and balance ourselves out, to bring quiet and peace when we need it, to bring energy and excitement when we need it. And I want you to just imagine for a moment here that breath is like the rise and fall of the tide. So the wave coming in on your inhale, the wave softly going out on your exhale. If you're a visual person, you can imagine in your mind's eye that actual wave coming in and the wave going out. Feeling with each breath a little bit more grounding and settling through your seat, your feet, connecting to the ground beneath you. The flow of water is always aware of the ground beneath and around, and is guided by that, connected to it. So connect to your ground and center to help your flow be the best it can be. Taking one more deep inhale and exhale. And if you have your eyes closed, gently opening your eyes. If you're not already seated on the blanket, go ahead and take your blanket or a prop to give you some support. We're going to bring the bottoms of the feet together out in front of us, and we're going to pull them in a little bit closer than probably maybe you normally do. So as we work with the kidney and bladder meridians, we work with that inside of the leg up into the abdomen and the entire back side of the body, from the inside of the eye all the way down through the back of the feet. So sitting up nice and tall to start with. Remember, there's no effort here. We're trying to be as effortless and easeful as possible. Maybe this is where you're at naturally, or maybe you start to tilt yourself a little bit forward, not grasping or pushing, just allowing gravity to take you where it wants to take you. Not using your hands to pull. And if you have a tendency of always kind of trying to pull yourself forward, just let those palms drift upward. We live in a very striving world, and sometimes it can be hard to not apply that to everything that we do. But in yin, we're looking at allowing. Maybe your upper body is much closer to your feet. Maybe it's all the way down to the floor. Find that place without a lot of effort, where you feel some sensations in the body, maybe the inner leg, the hips, maybe the low back. Continuing to connect with that breath, the rise and fall of the tide of your breath, the natural flow that guides you every single day, every moment. Notice as we hold this pose a little bit longer that maybe the knees start to open a little wider. If your knees are all the way down to the floor, maybe you feel a little bit more space in the inner leg, the lower back, maybe the arms and shoulders. Sense that space. One more deep inhale and exhale here. And then without shifting too much the upper body, we're going to slide that left foot forward to where the heel on the left foot matches the toes on the right foot. So a little asymmetry here. And fold back into your fold. You may find that pulling that right leg in a little bit closer feels better, or maybe sliding that left leg out a little bit further. But notice how this changes the pose for you. Winter is a time of our storing up our energy, preparing for all that is to come. Everything in nature needs time to come back to itself, to become quiet and still, to process, to think, to plan, to create, prior to activity. For us, the winter is that quiet time. Lifting up just a little bit, we're going to slide that left foot back. We're going to slide the right foot forward. So maybe you bring that left foot back a little bit more where the toes meet the right heel and fold yourself back over. Notice how this side may feel different for you. You may be experiencing a different sensation on each side. Allow yourself to just explore that. Become aware of your breath, noting if it has become more still or longer extended. Maybe your exhale is longer than your inhale, allowing you to settle a little bit more deeply and become more still. And slowly start to walk yourself back up to center. Bring those feet flat. Walk them a little wider and just windshield wiper those knees side to side. Notice in the rebound whatever sensations come up here as well. Maybe you feel it in a different place than in the pose itself. There is no right or wrong feeling here. Even though we may be focusing on the inner leg, abdomen, and the full edge of the back, you may feel it in other places too, and that's okay. That's your flow, your pose. Because we've been in a back bend or forward fold for quite a long time, go ahead and lift the heart, roll the shoulders back, lift the chin, look up, bring the heart toward the ceiling. Maybe softening the shoulder blades toward one another. And then bringing that chin back to center. Leaning over, and we use our blanket for a prop for the knee. So once again, you don't have to have this, but I find that it feels pretty good for me. So sitting with the heel right underneath the hips or a little bit to the outside edge. If this is not available for you for the knee, you can always take a bend to that and take the leg out to the side as well and take more of a dragon, a half dragonfly sort of pose. But if you can, take that heel underneath. Right leg out to the right, toes pointed up on the heel. Already start to feel maybe a little lengthening on the back side of the hamstrings or the inner leg. And then if you feel ready, go ahead and fold yourself forward. Take the elbows or hands down to the floor. Not really pressing the foot into the floor, just allowing gravity to hold it in place there. Breathing into the back side of the body here. And breathing into that space right above the pelvis, that place of the kidneys and the adrenals. Breathing into that lower back space. Just about one more minute here. This is a pose that feels more challenging and brings up a lot of emotional response or the overwhelming desire to leave this pose. Take a few nice deep breaths here and exhale them out through the mouth. Allow yourself to explore whatever comes up. This is a safe space to process things, to release things, to heal. Gently bring your hands underneath your shoulders and press all the way up, turning those toes upright. Take a couple of breaths here, maybe to wiggle the toes around. Maybe bringing those knees side by side, sitting back for a few breaths. When you feel ready, switching that blanket, if you're using it, over to the other side. Taking that right knee either completely bent, and know that if this knee is okay to take this position, but it wasn't on the other side, you can do different things on different sides in yin. Or taking that heel to the inside or outside if that feels better. Walking that left leg out to the left. Toes pointing up. Take a couple of breaths here to notice where you might be feeling this. It might be different than the last side, and that's okay too. Wiggling your toes just a little bit, and then allowing the toes to fall forward as you move forward into a forward fold. Hands or elbows or arms all the way down to the floor. Checking in with that rise and fall of the breath. About 1 more minute here. Becoming aware of maybe the difference on this side compared to the first side. Maybe it feels the same. Maybe the sensations are in different areas. Our bodies are asymmetrical from left to right. So maybe an entirely different sensation here. Slowly taking those palms down, lifting yourself back up, turning those toes back up as well. Taking a couple of breaths here, wiggle those toes. And here again, pulling that leg and coming with the heels tucked underneath it, or any seat that feels comfortable for you. And just take a couple of breaths here. For our next pose, if you want to use the blanket underneath your hips for Sphinx pose, or if you want to use it underneath your elbows or forearms, you can put it in either one of those places. So if you have lower back is a little cranky, you might want to take that blanket underneath the hips. You might want to take your feet a little bit wider, or you might take them closer together. For a little bit more back bend, you can take the forearms onto the blanket, lengthen out through the toes, and then allow your shoulders to soften down the back, the chest and belly to move forward and down just a little bit. Maybe you drop your chin to your chest, or maybe you keep your head up. Find a place that here again is a little more effortless, a little easier. Relax any tension you're holding in your backside, in your hips, in your feet. Allow that all to soften down toward the floor and forward. Tap into the flow of your breath. allow you to release any tension you may be holding, letting go, and also giving you that space to explore and expand. Just 2 more deep breaths here. And gently taking those elbows a little bit wider. Bring the palms back to each other and just resting your forehead on the back of the hands, maybe rocking the hips a little bit side to side. Maybe taking the feet up and dropping those feet side to side, little windshield wiper here. Slowly lifting your head up, you're going to roll all the way onto your back. So coming all the way down onto your back, feet flat, knees toward the ceiling. Take a couple of breaths here. If it feels good, you can press the lower back into the floor and shift it away with some pelvic tilts. Sometimes a longer held back bend can pressurize the back just a little bit. Relieve that. And then coming back to center, taking those feet out straight. We're going to walk those heels over to the right. And then we're going to take our right leg and bend it and let the knee fall out to the side. So that right foot can go to the inside of the knee or the upper thigh or the lower leg. Move the upper body over. This is fallen palm tree. So we take the arms up overhead. Reach for that wrist, elbow, or forearm of that left hand with the right hand. And give a little stretch here. So you may have to adjust this pose just a little bit to find that place for you. Breathe into that entire left side of the body from the heel of that left foot all the way up through the left fingertips. Expanding the left lung space. At any time in this pose you feel any tingling in your fingers, you can release that hand a little bit more, even take the hands out more like a V overhead, even out straight alongside the body. Just about 1 more minute in this pose. Sensing any sensation you have throughout the body, any emotions or thoughts that come up in this pose, in this practice. And allowing them without judgment to be. Slowly beginning to release your hands if they're up overhead, taking them down beside your hips. Move your upper body back into place first, and then slowly slide that left heel over and straighten out that right leg. And you can take your heels wide, arms out to the side, and just let everything settle. Noticing any differences in the left and right sides, in the breath, in the body. Any warmth or coolness in different areas of the body. In our practice, we often shift energy when we move into a posture. And then when we come out of the posture, that energy shifts again. This is a great time to check in and see how that's moving through your body personally. And here, moving those heels, this time over to the left. We're going to bend that left leg and bring it to the inside of the thigh, knee, leg, ankle. Moving the upper body just a little bit over as well to that left side. Arms up overhead, this time grasping the right wrist, right arm, right elbow with that left hand. Little stretch here. Maybe making some adjustments here. So you can stay in this pose for a while. Breathing into the right side body, the right lungs. Clearing them out, maybe with a nice deep exhale. Just a few more breaths here. Noticing if you're holding any tension in any part of the body to maintain this pose. Just allowing that to become a little softer. Softly letting go of whatever hold you have on your arms, taking the hands back alongside the hips, shifting the shoulders back into place, and then taking that right heel over to the right, stretching out your left leg and coming back into our little mini Shavasana here. Noticing all the changes. Noticing if there are no changes. Connecting to the breath, the rise and fall. Maybe rocking the head side to side a few times. Loosening up the neck. And coming back to stillness and the breath. Slowly bringing those feet flat, knees toward the ceiling. We're going to walk our feet as wide as the mat, or maybe even wider if that feels good for you. Taking the arms out to the side, palms facing up, your elbows can be bent or straight. And just starting to gently rock those knees a little bit side to side, like windshield wipers during a soft rain. Feeling a little massage on the lower back, on the pelvis. And when you next get over to the left, just drop those knees over to the left. Turn and look over the right if that feels appropriate for you. And just let those knees and legs be heavy. Allowing the breath to unwind any tension in the back. And gravity to be that support beneath you. To hold your body in place and to also help the body move into whatever position it feels best. You can either keep that left arm straight out to the side or elbow bent, or you can start to take it up a little bit higher overhead. Just for these last 2 minutes of this pose. Just 2 more breaths. Gently turning your head back to center, engaging your core, bringing those knees back through the middle and dropping those knees together, taking the hands to the belly and to the heart. Taking note of all the changes in the body, all the sensations, the flow of energy and the breath. And here again, gently taking those arms out to the side, just windshield wipering just a little bit here, maybe a little massage for the low back. Side to side a couple of times. And then when you next get over to the right, let those knees drop to the right. You can turn and look over your left shoulder or look straight up. Noting those places that you may be holding some tension still, the low back. I often find in a twist that my back arches just a little bit, and then as time goes on, it softens and allows. And just like we did on the other side, if you want to, you can take that right arm this time up overhead a little bit more for these last few minutes. Notice the stillness and the quiet of the body and the breath. Even noticing your thoughts slowing down. This allows us to think more clearly, more focused, be more creative. Often people think of that slowing down as stopping or waiting or not getting things done. But what's really going on inside during winter is all the preparation for all the things coming up. Everything in our lives takes preparation. Everything on the earth needs a quiet and a still time to recover, heal, restore, create. Just like water may seem like it's always just going with the flow and moving wherever it's led, but water can cut pathways more efficiently than often anything else can. Our flow is powerful as well as calming and soothing and still. The flow can be peaceful as well as strong and cutting. Very gently turning your head back to center, engaging your core, bringing those knees back through the middle, taking the hands onto the belly, knees drop together. And here gently tucking the shoulder blades underneath by rocking side to side. You can stay here with your knees dropped together, walking your feet a little further away, or you can take those heels out to the corners of the mat. Let them rest here. Maybe lifting one heel and pressing through the heel and then letting it come down again, and the other lifting up, pressing through the heel and softening down. This lengthens the spine and lets you settle a little bit more. And here noticing any place on the body that is touching the ground, the heels, the back of the legs, the hips, the back and shoulder blades, maybe the arms, the back of the head, and feel that connection to the earth. And at the same time, feel the rise and fall of your breath, that connection to your natural innate flow. Come back to that breath from the very start, that rise and fall. The wave coming in and the waves going out. Feel that consistency of the breath and the power of that breath as it moves through the body and reminds you that stillness is a good place to be. The peace can be found in every single breath. Time Enough by Dana Folds. The wisdom voice says, be still. Take time for what is truly important. I imagine myself diving, leaving behind an untidy trail of what's not needed. I cast aside worry, which has never brought me anything even remotely useful. I let go of doubt and all the countless ways I tie myself in knots. Scattered behind me like discarded clothes are old beliefs, selfish agendas, my fixed and false identities, attachment to particular results. Weightless and miraculously free, my eyes shine with wonder and enthusiasm. The wisdom voice says there is always time enough for joy. Returning to your breath, Maybe deepening that breath a little bit more, feeling the expansion of the lungs and the ribs out to the side, into the back body, into the front, belly, chest, and collarbones. Maybe beginning to wiggle your fingers and your toes, finding a little movement in the body. Smiling softly to yourself for this time you've spent being still and peaceful and connecting to your inner flow. And then gently bringing your knees into your chest, hugging them in, maybe making some circles to the left and to the right. Little lower back massage, little lower back love. And then gently returning to stillness and rolling over to your right side, taking a few breaths here to remember to take this sense of stillness, this sense of quiet and peace, this energy turning inward, connecting to our natural flow with you into the rest of your day. Keeping the memory of the breath as a guide to our flow. And when you feel ready, pressing yourself up into whatever seated position you like best. Keeping your gaze soft or your eyes closed. Taking your hands palms down onto your knees or in your lap. Nice deep inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. Gently on your next exhale, dropping those fingers down to the ground. Inhale, sweeping the palms up overhead. Looking up, palms come together. Exhale down through forehead, throat, heart center. Maybe a soft little bow. Saying thank you to yourself for taking this time to reconnect with your inner flow, your inner guide. Becoming more still, less restless, and more at peace. My wish for you, may you be happy. May you be safe and protected, and may you be at peace. Thank you so much for sharing your practice time with me today. I hope you enjoyed this practice, and I hope to see you again very soon on the mat.